Hey guys, Sofin here. Today I went and saw the new film Companion, and now I want to talk about it. Companion is a mystery thriller about a group of friends taking a trip to a lakeside mansion to spend a relaxing weekend. Shortly after arriving, a violent death sends the group spiraling into chaos. Written and directed by Drew Hancock, this film stars Sophie Thatcher, Jack Quaid, and Lucas Gage. Okay, if you haven't seen the trailer for this film, I recommend you don't watch it beforehand if you want to enjoy this. There's a significant plot point revealed in the trailers that I personally think ruins the film a little bit. To start, I want to say that I enjoyed the film as a whole. It's got some great visuals, the cast is doing a fantastic job, and the story is interesting enough to keep your attention. That said, it does have a few flaws. Let's go with the positives first. The story is a slow burn mystery that tells us just enough to get by. They set up the scenario and then throw us in head first. As the mystery unfolds, more and more secrets are revealed, until everything has been turned upside down. For action, there's a little bit of violence in the group, there's a lot of dramatic conversations about what to do, and there's a few sexual encounters. There's also a lot of tension as one character tries to escape the situation. As for the characters, they're not overly developed or flavorful, but they work well enough for the film. There's clearly a side you're rooting for, and the antagonists are set up in an interesting way that really makes you hate them. The ending is cathartic, bloody, and just a tad underexplained. It's good enough to leave you fulfilled. The cast is doing a great job with the material and manages to overcome the lack of flavor. The friend group does the lion's share of the work, with Sophie Thatcher, Jack Quaid, Lucas Gage, and Harvey Guillen really standing out. Sophie Thatcher plays Iris, the main character and girlfriend of Josh. Iris is an unconfident young woman who is madly in love and willing to do anything to please her boyfriend. As the movie progresses, she grows a lot as a person and develops all kinds of new emotions while learning to stand on her own. Thatcher plays the transition beautifully. She also has great chemistry with the rest of the cast. Jack Quaid plays Josh, Iris's boyfriend and a bit of a tool. He likes to crack jokes a lot, but he's about as smooth as the ocean during a storm. Still, with an awkward charm, he manages to worm his way into Iris's heart. Throughout the story, Josh devolves from his original image into something new and grotesque. Quaid plays the transition in a subtle way that feels quite sinister, like he's casually slipping off his mask just to taunt you before putting it back. Lucas Gage's character Patrick is a good chef that likes to dance. Like Iris, he dotes on his boyfriend Eli and does anything to please him. Throughout the film, he shows off a simple puppy-like personality that turns dark about halfway through. Harvey Guillen as Eli is Patrick's boyfriend. He's an excited person that always seems to be roaring with energy. At first, he seems a bit slimy, like his friends, but over time reveals himself to be a slight cut above the grade. Gage and Guillen don't get as much time as the others, but play out a tragic love story that manages to be the most meaningful part of the film. Visually, the film is basic but competent. Most of the journey revolves around the characters spending time at a lake house mansion. It's a fancy-looking home with a modern chic design. They lounge around, talking and having fun until the first death happens, and then spend their time running around the nearby woods, roads, and traipsing back and forth from the house. There isn't much action, but what little there is particularly violent. They don't just fight, they beat each other's skulls in. It isn't overly gory, but there is a large amount of blood and a few slightly grotesque moments. Along the way, there are also a few nice scenic shots of the outdoors that are kind of fun to look at. Sound-wise, the film has a couple of good moments. There are original songs and a few instrumentals scattered throughout the film. The instrumentals tend to add a feeling of tension and do an okay job. The original songs are connected to specific characters and try to build a particular emotion like happiness or sadness. They do a solid job in the moment and help create a few memorable story beats. Like, I love this scene near the end where Iris plays Eli and Patrick's song for Josh. It's such a chilling moment and a great callback to earlier. Now for the negatives. The visual journey and the story lack flavor. They're trying to do a bit of everything here, and because of that, the film feels bland. For example, they start down the mystery path, play with it for a few minutes, and then just give you all the answers. They start killing people, but then they run through their numbers way too quickly. Even during the big moments, they feel the need to cut things as short as possible. Like, you'll see the initial stab go into the victim, see a big blood spurt, and then blam, the scene is done and we're moving on. They never take the time to really indulge in any one part of the story, and after a while you can get bored of the tepid taste. The story is also a little bit predictable once you've gotten past the twist. They just foreshadow things too heavily, and it makes it easy to figure out everything in advance. The soundtrack is also curiously absent from the film. There's a lot of spaces where they just let the sound of the scene do the work and it feels empty. Like, they could have easily spiced things up with just a few more basic instrumentals introducing some tension. The music they did have was solid, which just made me wonder why all the silence for the rest of the film. Why not continue doing what you've already done? Personally, I was intrigued by this film initially, found myself a little bored in the middle, and then came back around during the ending. I don't think the story had anything all that new to say about the subject matter, but it was a solidly made film. The cast did a great job with their roles. The visual journey and story were cleanly executed, and the soundtrack had a few good moments. As for a rating, I'd give this film a 6 out of 10. Remember, these are just my thoughts on the film. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Bye-bye!